me, Shadi, to step in and talk a bit more about what are the tips that I can give to small and medium enterprises when it comes to their communication strategy, and more specifically, maybe their online footprint. What I want to tell you mostly is that the most important thing that these small and medium businesses should be addressing is the fact that that business started with a story. It started with a passion. It started with some values. And what you need to do in terms of a small or a medium business owner is to take that that passion that you built that business with and project it across everything that you do, whether it is your vision, your mission, your values, your brand. You have to breathe that passion, because this is what people are going to resonate with. So before you start thinking about platforms or about social media content, you have to think about your brand. What does it stand for? What are the things that you cannot compromise on? What are the things that you live and breathe for as a brand? And once you've decided on these few items that make you who you are, then you can start thinking about content. And then you can start thinking about, okay, I want to have video content or photos. I want to have this message or that cause or that, okay. And then at this point, you start choosing the platforms that you want to be on. My recommendation for small and medium businesses is to avoid being on all platforms. The common misunderstanding that I get is that they believe that if they are on all the platforms, it is something that is going to give them more visibility. But the truth is, you cannot possibly create content for all of the platforms on which you are. You're not Coca-Cola or Nike or those big brands that have a department of maybe 100 people working on content and social media presence. Usually in a small or a medium business, you have one person that is wearing many hats. So it is very hard for you to sustain a presence wherever you want to be. So my advice is for you to choose the platforms according to where your target audience is. So
Can you give us some examples, Celine, of sample platforms versus demographics or target audiences that they could focus on?
Of course, if you have a visual product that is more oriented to the younger generations, you have to be on Instagram. If you have something that is trendy, that is in line with the even younger generation, you go and you be on TikTok. You can be on Instagram and TikTok at once, but for instance, there is no need for you to be on Twitter, because then you're talking to nobody on Twitter. However, if you have a more adult, let's say, target audience that with whom you can engage in conversations, then you can be on Twitter. Or else, if you can't create conversations as a brand, don't be on Twitter. If you're B2B, you have to be on LinkedIn, but you don't need to be on Instagram. You see, if you can create content that is informative and that is intellectual to a certain point and that is varied, you have to be on Facebook. So you see, the type of content is, and that is also something that I've noticed, is that all brands or most brands tend to have their content, the same type of content, all over the place. But our behavior as consumers and as users is completely different on one platform and the other, which means that I go on Twitter to check news and to talk to people. And I go on Instagram to scroll and to see what my friends are doing. So even if I follow the same brand here and there, or even if I don't, I should not be seeing the same content here and there, because my behavior and my expectations on each platform is different. So, those are the two things that I wanted to mostly talk about, which is the first one being, don't spread yourself too thin. Don't be all over the place, because at one point you're going to have to drop one platform for the sake of the other. And that is highly detrimental for the brand itself. The second thing is, don't post the same content on all the platforms, because even if you're talking to me, Celine, on Facebook and on LinkedIn, I am the head of marketing, or let's say the head of hospitality management on LinkedIn, and I am Celine in real life on Facebook, and I am a food blogger on Instagram. So you can't talk to me the same way on the different places. We have different personas as users. So understand your target audience, understand who they are, what they want, and then address these messages to them. I wanted to also just to end on a point, because I'm sure a lot of people ask me about the good brands that are out there that you can actually benefit from. Of course, maybe I can, if I research a bit more, I can give you examples of small businesses that are doing great online. But for inspirational purposes and to see how content is really something that you have to take beyond your mere product or service, I advise you to check, for instance, Starbucks, Nike, FedEx, because these people have really understood the meaning of content, and especially Nike. I think you, Shadi, know about Nike as much as I do in terms of inspiration and in terms of taking everything beyond the product and tackling social issues like women empowerment, like racism, etc., and how they have built their entire content strategy around that. I don't expect small and medium businesses to do the same, but I do expect this level of going beyond the product and proposing real value in the content, because at the end of the day, this is what is going to engage the customer and not the product itself.